This triangle has been in the city for a while. I had to test it here in detail so that I could say a word about it. The first 2 minutes are a bit monotone because we are building the road first. I first have to put two tiles together. This results in this picture, which in turn are put together to form a long strand about 40 and 50 centimeters long, and all of this 10 times for the road. I already have one direction of travel and we have still to build in another direction. I have already installed everything here and you can still see a lot of columns because nothing is fixed yet. How did I get in here just to test whether I could close the road without big gaps? You can see what I have the curved rail and the straight rail. I would like to add road to all the rails next to them. I probably would have gotten it pretty good. I had tried harder, but I changed it. I just wouldn't look good. So I decided to use the slot construction technique. You can see that the picture from the beginning is a beautiful triangle, and there will be a stop for the tram on this area. The advantage of the whole thing is that you can see the road above and of course the rail 90 below. I could just prefer the road to the rail, but I thought wrong again, because the stop would currently be quite small, which is why I built it bigger. The disadvantage on the whole thing is that I get another curve in the road. I will solve it directly, that's shown in the picture. In the meantime, I have further refined the entire stopping point. I managed to get the radius of the rail quite well solided especially. I believe it should work fine when minifigures are placed here. The crucial aspect of the whole story is that the tram will need to pass through here. I've also had to go manage to boo. I managed to get the radius of the rail quite well sealed especially. I believe it should work fine when minifigures are placed it. The cruel aspect of the whole story is that the tram still needs to pass through here. I've also experimented with different construction technique in the meantime. I will incorporate a curve into the road. Whether I can achieve that with the construction technique, I'm not sure. I abandoned the idea as I would have resulted in too many columns. The update now shows significant progress with the road, including the curve and sidewalk. All planning time warning planing is complete, presenting the final result of the entire street. I'll change the color of the stopping point later, and I'll risk that aspect. Overall, I'm already quite pleased with how the streets looks now. The joy on my part was somewhat restrained because I still had to close a small triangle. After much considering and experimentation, I stumbled upon the wedge plates, resulting in this outcome. The small triangle is now sealed, creating a bit of grass, and the gaps are responsible closed. When the city is finally complete, I believe these small gaps won't be noticeable. A brief note about the middle part of the rail. I've only roughly closed it, and I'm still undecided whether to incorporate a green stripe of cobblestone. I definitely need to build more road to make that discussion. Now, let's talk about the stopping point. I changed the ground color to light bluish gray, added markings outside and a few studs for placing minifigures and cigarette some walls on the side where the plates are facing up. I also worked on the columns and slots. The radius of the curve is more refined, and when minifigures are placed here, they hardly stand out. I'm really glad I opted for a stop here. The tram test fits perfectly. There are no uses. Everything is wonderfully resolved. That's why I'm adding a little booth where tickets and newspapers are sold. The small addition significantly enhances the entire stopping point, especially when the roof is added. Let's first take a look at the back. The side walls have already been built here, all in glass and window parts. Then come the roofs. I spent a long time working on this roof until I figured out the entire shape that fits together so well. And yes, take a look. I believe it's wonderfully solved for its corner. I really like the back now, especially with the roof. Maybe I'll add a sticker to the white panels. It looks good from the side too. Except for the background where houses will eventually be added. The roof itself, as you can see here, is quite simple but took a long time to close all the gaps as best as possible. We'll address the lighting as a stopping point in the next update for the one after. I'm looking forward to the next project now, which is right along the street. That's why I was extremely important today to plane the entire street, Clementine, the sidewalk riders, and now we can place the house. But before we place the building, my thanks go to Harold. And now I'll show you the pictures of the design. I took inspiration from a few ideas. It's incredible. I really love this building so much that I wanted it in the city and allowed myself to borrow a few ideas. Of course, I'd moved things very a bit and I become significantly smaller than the design. However, I'm still about 70 studs wide, which is still a nice size, to later build a delighted interior. But why I really wanted the building is, of course, the color combination of dark red and dark tan, which harmonized really well together. And with all the details on the facade built with simple pieces, I really like a lot. That's why there are still problems, even thought I had many pictures. But currently, I'm not satisfied with the windows. I spent a long trying to come up with something, making some change, but currently the trim above the windows seems too much to me. I also had to shorten the windows from 3 rows and 2 rows to make everything fit together a bit more, since it really shortened the building significantly. That's why I couldn't maintain the height as in the original. I would have become too massive. However, I came up with something. I looked at the second floor. There's a similar trim there as on the left side. I could incorporate the 3 rows windows there. It wouldn't be as tall and would definitely look better to me, especially considering that if I want to turn this building into a museum, the 3-row windows would visually better suit the building. But think I've talked enough about the problems. You can also see the staircase in the background. I've built that by now. The whole thing is solved using slot technique, and the railing is attached to it. The railing adds a bit more color contrast, along with the dark brown door in the background. Now, let's talk about the size of the building again. You know the width by now, that would be a depth. And fortunately, I could provide more details because something else is supposed to be built behind the building. We'll continue with at the next episode. I want to be have to continue building here, but unfortunately, I rent parts of parts. I think a museum would be fit wonderfully into the layout of the building. I have your other ideas to a suggestion. Please let me know in the comments. It would be very grateful, and I appreciate any tips in general. And that is for today. I now let the pictures run from a distance. Today, a lot has really been added. We built the tram stop and gave the starting signal for a possible upcoming museum. In any case, today's progress has completely changed the cityscape. I sincerely thank you for tuning in, for commenting, for liking, and whatever else. Many thanks for you. A new video is coming soon, next time, and thank you very much for tuning in, and see you soon, and goodbye.